Now I worked at American Express. I worked for some large firms, and I didn't see that plan. I didn't see that strategy used so much when someone is over 50 million or more. I
50
don't see them
mil of
doing
what?
that.
Earnings or net worth?
I mean, because what's happening is, you know, the more money someone has, the more willing they are to find other options.
Mm-hmm.
But the more money they have, the more pain they have too, because if the more money you have, the more taxes you're likely paying.
Yeah.
And so the problem with the person who's getting richer is that they end up letting what I call the tax tail wagging the dog. You don't you don't want the tax tail to wag the dog. What you want and is the richer you get or the more affluent you become, um, you end up finding yourself even more controlled by someone else. And so what I learned and what I got away from in financial planning is I'm like, I got tired of being controlled by some big brother, okay, or or some government telling me this is what you have to do. You have to do this. You have to do this, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. So what I learned is that there are different types of structures that give you control of everything, but no one's out there teaching it. Okay, they're teaching LLCs, C corporations, S corporations. They're teaching traditional sandbox strategies, and that's not what I saw when I worked for some of these firms. I didn't see that. These people come in, they're worth $100 million. They're not messing around. They walk right in. They weren't. I didn't see them do depreciation. And
Really?
I learned. I'm like, wait, I'm learning. Wow, there's another universe over here.
They're not using depreciation or real estate whatsoever.
Some of them weren't. I wouldn't say most, but I would say half of them were not doing that.
Right.
And I was. So there's a saying that says success leaves clues.
Right. 100%.
Well, my ears to the ground all the time, and so I don't want someone controlling me. I want to control my own future, right? My own destiny. And so what I don't like is to wake up one day, and to know that I'm not in control of my assets. I'm not in control of whether or not I'm taxed. I'm not in control of my privacy. Everyone else has control. That's not what I want to do.
Right.
I want to wake up where I have control of whether or not someone sues me. See, I can change my structure so that I choose if you're going to be able to sue me. Most people can't do that, but I can do that because I have the right structure. And so I can wake up every day knowing that I get to choose if I'm going to be taxed or not, because I get to choose whether or not my money goes into the tax system, basically. So, and here's what I teach. We have 300 consultants, and the way it works is the IRS does not tax people, and they don't tax money. And the way you can prove that is a third of all Americans, none of them pay tax. A third of Americans do not pay tax. So that proves right there the IRS does not tax.
That's a
people.
big statement. Like you say that, a lot of people that have that level of knowledge, they'll be like, how come is that? This is unfair shit. But we're not going to get at that. But keep going.
Well, all I'm saying is I've been in the room. I've written the financial plans.
Yeah.
At American Express, when you write a financial plan, they grade it. Okay, now American Express sold their company to Ameriprise. Okay, so now it's called Ameriprise. But when you wrote a financial plan, that plan was graded as to how well it was written. And then you got in trouble if you missed something or something. They're going to have a conversation. Hey, you look right here, you missed this. What were you thinking? And so all I'm saying is the devil is in the details. And by the way, if you're dealing with a lot of money for people, you can't think strategy. Okay? Because I like to say financial amateurs will think strategy. Here, look at this cool strategy. Boom. No, that's not what you want to do. You don't want to throw out a strategy and then hope it works. Because hope's not a management style, by the way. So you don't want to think strategy. What you want to do is you think details. The devil's in the details. Okay? The details, the structure is really what mattered, not the strategy that you chose. Because the structure chooses which tax code you're going to use. So most people use the wrong tax code, and then they get taxed, and then they all they have is depreciation left. That's the only thing they have left that they can do. But most people don't realize this, but when you depreciate, you're giving the IRS a gift of equity when you do that. Okay, so every time you depreciate, you're literally giving your assets to the IRS. And here's why: because here's your income right here, and you can depreciate, and yes, your income goes down, so you don't, you're depreciating, so you're offsetting income, right? The problem is you just lowered the book value of your assets. So one day when you sell the asset on the back end, you're hit with capital gains or recapture or whatever. And so CPAs love recapture because they look like a hero. I'm sorry, not recapture. They love depreciation because they look like a hero for the first 5 or 10 years.
Right.
But one day, guess what? You're going to sell the asset probably, or sell your business. That's even worse. So we help companies sell their businesses too. And what's really bad for someone selling their business is, think about this for a minute. You work for 30 years or 40 years on a business, and now you're ready to sell it. And then not only do you lose 10% because you have to find a broker to help you sell it, but then you lose 30% or more because every year you depreciated, the goodwill or the assets of the business or the business itself. You're depreciating for 20, 30 years. So where do you think the value of your business is? It's way down here as far as the basis of your business. And here you are, you're going to sell way up here, and the value's way down here. What does that mean? That means you're going to have this massive capital gain tax. So who wants to work for 20 or 30 years or 40 years for a business, get ready to sell it, and then lose 10% to the broker and then 30% to the tax man? You just lost 40% of your company because you chose the wrong structure.
Waking up to success, now we getting it started. This is the real grind. Everything you've been wanting, building an empire, no question. Talking about real estate, investing, making the millions, no stopping. While we sip on gourmet coffee, the real grind.